All right, ladies and gentlemen, pass out the ammunition. Let's go to battle round number 1 here at DCT World Cup, presented by Dotson Motorsport. We hope that you're ready for a great day of action here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. We're going to start out with the fastest and quickest class of them all, GTR Unlimited. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 cars came to play in GTR Unlimited. So this is their first round and their final round. Mac Brosnan and George Dotworth. Dotworth out of the T1 Race Development. The flat black GTR right-hand side. He made 1 pass yesterday. Was thought to possibly be broke, but got it fixed. And he has a tall mountain to climb as he will face the quickest car on the property. Mac Brosnan, 6:69 is what he ran yesterday. George on a shutoff pass ran about a second slower. Let's see how they do. And this one is all Mac Brosnan. Top end says 683. 212 miles an hour to put an exclamation point on his weekend, and Mac Brosnan is your winner in GTR Unlimited. George had some problems, but got it to the starting line, so kudos to his efforts to try to make it at least a final round where we had 2 cars on the line, but Mac Brosnan, wire to wire, gets it done here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's where it starts to get interesting. Because as some of you might know, the problem we run into is you will have upsets, you will have breakages, you will have problems. And unfortunately, it looks like, well, actually Antonio might be able to get it started. Looked like he was starting to have problems out of the burnout box, and they're discussing it with him. And Marcelo Duran out of the burnout in the forged blue GTR on the right-hand side. He is the higher qualified car. And now it looks like Antonio actually has the car rolling, so we will send a pair to the starting line. The higher qualified car, Marcelo Duran, a number 4 qualifier at 723. He's on the right-hand side. Antonio is our number 13 qualifier at 773. Might be a little bit rattled out of the burnout as he is able to get the car to the starting line. The question is will it run what it's supposed to, and does he have a chance of getting inside Marcelo's head and possibly pulling off the upset? He has to overcome a half a second advantage on paper in performance. They are staged and ready. Here we go, and no, he pushes right through the tree. So Antonio gets it to the starting line, but unfortunately can't hold it in the beams, and Marcelo's win light is already on. He knows that he can get out of the gas and save the parts and pieces, and just goes 875 at a coasting 110 miles an hour, and a tough break for Antonio, as he did get the car to the starting line, but when he tried to get it up on boost and ready to go, it pushed through the beam, and he red lighted away his chances. The biggest thing, make sure you let go of the tree on time. Both cars need to be green. And understandably, the left side makes sure the green light is on. David is a little late off the starting line, but he has this one well in hand and coasts to an 889 at 117. Kyle falls to a 937 at 155 as the 60-foot fell off. And he gave it a shot, but unfortunately came up empty. Your number 1 qualifier will move to the quarterfinal round, round number 2. Here comes our next pair, Damon Fegley and Dad Lee. Another pair of GTRs on the starting line. The higher qualified car in this pair, again, left-hand side. The higher qualified car gets lane choice, and so far the higher qualified cars are taking the left lane. So Fegley, your number 3 qualifier, 721 at 197. He will face the number 14 qualifier, Dat Lee, who qualified with a 778 at 182. So Damon, the higher qualified car out of Fastech Motorsports, the flat black GTR on the left side. Dat Lee, the underdog, the number 14 qualifier, the white GTR on the right side. They are staged and ready. And they leave the starting line together. Dat Lee making a good pass, but it is not going to get there. Damon knocks down a 731 at 195. Dat Lee puts down his best pass of the weekend in a losing effort, 777 at 178. But Damon had the starting line advantage and led Dat Lee at every increment. That was a wire-to-wire win for the number 3 qualifier. So right now, on paper, number 1 and number 3 move to round number 2 as expected. Here comes another mismatch on paper. Your number 15 qualifier right-hand side out of the sauce shop, Craig Blankenship. Number 15 qualifier, 801 for the orange GTR right side. The tall hill to climb is on the left side. Christine Dodworth, your number 2 qualifier. The shiny flat white GTR qualified at a 703, so your higher qualified car left side. Your underdog right side. They leave the starting line together, and that's where the similarities end. To the finish line, Christine Dodworth, 714 at 198 for a wire-to-wire win over Craig, slowing 871 at 134. Christine went 703 in qualifying. So a 714 at 198 is a solid run. She probably knew she didn't have to turn it all the way up to 11 to be able to get a hold of Craig Blankenship. And the number 1, number 2, and number 3 qualifiers will move to the next round. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this will be your closest matchup, round number 1 on paper. The number 8 and number 9 qualifiers coming to the starting line in our next pairing. Kevin Stowe and Chuck Cadman. Cadman in the white GTR on the right side of the racetrack. McFarland Racing side is your number 8 qualifier with a 759. The number 9 qualifier, Kevin Stowe, with the neon yellow GTR, qualified number 9 at a 760 with a 4. So 1/100th of a second separate these two drivers. That means the starting line advantage could be the determining factor. When you're only separated by 1/100th of a second, every increment is important. Whole shot left-hand side for the underdog. Kevin Stowe got the whole shot. Can he hold off Chuck Cadman? Top end says, yes indeed, 773, holding off a 783, 189 miles an hour for Stowe, 182 miles an hour for Cadman. Stowe left Cadman at the starting line by 0.13 of a second, that's almost a full car length, and then ran 1/10 of a second faster. So the lower qualified car gets an upset. Number 9 goes to round number 2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your next pair. Tom Harrison and Billy Massingill. Massingill out of the shop, Houston. The flat gray GTR right-hand side of the racetrack. Your number 11 qualifier at 765, 186. That was his best efforts, puts him number 11. He will face your number 6 qualifier. The black GTR left side of the racetrack, the Tripp Law Firm side, Tom Harrison. Harrison qualified at 745 at 192. So 0.2 of a second in qualifying separate these two. But as we just saw in our last matchup, a 0.13 of a second hole shot happened between two drivers. So if Tom Harrison gets complacent and the right-hand side gets a big hole shot, we could see an upset. And the right-hand side does get the hole shot. Massingill out in front for a moment. Harrison tracks him down and gets around him. 7:57 at 191, getting the better of the 7:74 at 188 from Massengale. Now Massengale did the driver's job. He got off the starting line first by 0.05 of a second, so he was ahead for just a moment, but by the time they got to the 330-foot mark, Harrison was around him and pulling away. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I need DCT Street. I need DCT Street Elite 8. DCT Street Elite 8 to the staging lanes, please. DCT Elite 8. DCT Street Elite 8 to the lanes, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next pair. Final call for GTR GR6 Extreme. Final call for GTR GR6 Extreme to the lanes. Chris Sassy and Nick Cucci. Cucci, right side, number 7 qualifier. And he will go to the next round as Chris Sassy red lights away his chances. Nick Cucci, 008 reaction time. Just 0.08 of a second away from perfect. And lays down a 7:56 at 186. But a lot of smoke out of the car when he pulled the chute. So we will be down here for just a minute while we double check that. The lower qualified car, Chris Sassy, was on the left-hand side, and he did what he thought was right. He tried to get a reaction time advantage and leave on Nick Cucci, and instead he left before the green light came on and red lighted away his chances. But Nick Cucci came ready. He qualified within 0.02 of his ET. 7:54 with his qualifying time. 7:56 was what he ran, and he was 008 on the tree, and that pretty much put the left side into a situation where he could not win. Once again, I need GTR GR6 Extreme. GTR GR6 Extreme. Final call to the lanes, please. Once again, I need DCT Street Elite 8. DCT Street Elite 8. I need you to the lanes, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our second pair. And first, where we have 2 cars going to the starting line here of GTR GR6 Extreme, and our defending winner, Devin Schultz and Don Shepard, will make up this pairing. Schultz, the 750, good enough for number 6 qualifier. He will face John Shepard on the right side, the Shep Transback entry, the number 3 qualifier at 709. So the faster qualified car on the right, the underdog on the left. Devin with a big hole shot. Is it going to be enough to hold off number 3? John is coming, but will not get there. The hole shot pays off. A 715 beats a 688. This is where the driver's job comes in, ladies and gentlemen. 715 at 199, beating a 688 at 212. Devin Schultz got the hole shot by 1/2 of a second. A huge hole shot. And Devin did the driver's job and got to the finish line first. Shepard was coming, but couldn't get there. And John will have to face probably a dejected crew as he didn't do the driver's job and Devin did, and the underdog goes to round number 2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here comes your next pair. George Dodworth, your number 8 qualifier, just a tick under 12 seconds, and will face the huge task of facing the number 1 qualifier, Katie Chamti. 680 at 201, your number 1 qualifier, the ETS-backed blue GTR left-hand side. So the hugely favored car left side, George over on the right-hand side in the flat black GTR, kind of an unknown quantity, has only made a coasting 1196 pass. So did they get things together? Are they going to do a moonshot and it works? Right now it doesn't look good. You don't give Giddy the whole shot. And Giddy is just going to motor all the way down. 685 at a lifting 185 miles an hour. Will easily get there. And how about a 689 at 226 for George Dodworth? Again, the whole shot is huge here, as almost 0.4 of a second as Giddy left first. And the number 8 qualifier laid down the only 6-second best of the weekend for that car, and it goes all for naught as the whole shot gets Giddy to round number 2. Once again, I need my DCT Elite 8 and DCT Street. DCT Street Elite 8 and DCT Street. I need you to the lanes, please. Our next pair, Perrin Shaw and Marcelo Duran. Marcelo pulling double duty between two classes. So Marcelo already through to round number 2. In the DCT Extreme class, here's his entry in the GTR GR6 class, the red with carbon fiber accent GTR. Here's your number 4 qualifier at 717. He's on the right-hand side. Perrin Shaw, the gray with red wheel GTR, left-hand side, is your number 5 qualifier. 741 at 195 was his best time. Now here's the interesting note. Only one qualifying spot separate them, but almost 24 hundredths of a second separate them in one qualifying spot. So the higher qualified car and the favorite is Marcelo Duran on the right-hand side. But we have already seen a couple of upsets here in round number 1. And Perrin Shaw looking to take out Marcelo and not give him 2 shots in round 2. And goes for the whole shot. It comes up 6 thousandths red. Marcelo out of the gas knowing he has the win in hand. 744 at 195 for Perrin Shaw. A very consistent run. He goes for the whole shot and comes up 6 little thousandths of a second red. That means he left just 6 thousandths of a second before the green light came on. And he had a huge whole shot. If he would have been 000 perfect, would it have been enough to hold off Marcelo? We'll never know, because Marcelo lifted knowing he had the win light in hand. So Marcelo goes to round number 2 with 2 entries. Slower class cars, to be able to have a fair shot, there is a breakout enforced, so someone doesn't sandbag and try to get into the slow class and then blow away the competition. They magically get faster. Whereas this one, on the other hand, the Elite 8, is let it all hang out. Whoever gets to the finish line first wins. So our first pair will pit a GTR versus a Lamborghini. RJ Stathis out of the 316 Speed Camp. The Huracan, the number 5 qualifier, 780 at just a tick under 199 miles an hour. As a matter of fact, yesterday he ran over 200 miles an hour on his final qualifying effort, but the ET did not get better, so he technically has run over 200 with this car. He will face the number 4 qualifier, Don Fike, the white GTR on the left side of the racetrack, the Tripp Law Firm side. 768 at 182. So based on speed and ET, what should happen here is if they leave together, Don Fike would get out first and have the short track advantage, meaning be in front at the first part. But Stathis has the big mile an hour at the top end. They are staged and ready, and here we go, the left side getting the whole shot. And as I said, the GTR out in front now. Can the Lamborghini reel him in? Top end scoreboard says no. Left side 770 at 181, holding off a 772 at 199. Only 200ths of a second separate them on ET, but the whole shot to Don Fike by over a 1/10 of a second, and that is about a car length lead, and that's what Don Fike wins by. RG makes the best pass of the weekend, but in a losing effort. Right, and you still need to make sure that you leave relatively on time, otherwise Mike Dorchik will take advantage, and we could see the big upset of round number 1. This is the number 1 qualifier and the number 8 qualifier. They are ready, and Amy rolls out of the beams. The number 1 qualifier is done. Mike Dorchek will go to the next round, 8:23 at 165. Amy rolled out of the beams, and Mike Dorchek will get the big break. Dog on the left. Once again, I need DCT 850. DCT 850. To the lanes, be paired up, please. DCT 850. DCT 850 to the lanes, please. They are staged and ready. And once again, the lower qualified car goes for the whole shot and comes up red. Clay red lights away his chances, and Kelly's got the win light. 884 at a coasting 110. Once she looked up and noticed that her win light was on, she got out of the gas and saved the parts and pieces. Clay makes an 803 at 170 pass, only about 600ths of a second away from his qualifying lick, and that's not a bad run, but unfortunately, we'll never know if it was enough to hold Kelly off as she backed off the throttle knowing she had the win in hand, and Clay red lights away his chances. Now we will move to DCT Street. The way things work here is the highest qualified car in the bottom half ran an 821 with a 4. So the deal here is you want to win, but you can't go faster than 806.4. If you run 806.3 or quicker in defeating an opponent, you will be disqualified. Our first pair, Kevin Stowe and Felix Fabello. Fabello in the Audi on the right, Kevin in the Lamborghini on the left. We are clean and green, the higher qualified car on the left, the underdog Felix on the right. To the finish line they go, top end says. 828 for Kevin Stowe, beating the 849 from Felix. A good race, both of them within a couple hundredths of their qualifying efforts. Kevin is good to go, and he will go to the round of next. Our next pair should be Perrin Shaw and Brooke Marini. Unfortunately, Brooke having trouble, told us that she broke early today, so that will give Perrin a single pass. The Lamborghini on a full pull left side, 828 at 175, improving upon his qualifying efforts. So Perrin Shaw will go to the next round. And again, a tough break for Brooke Marini as she came out with the Alpha Princess today and just could not find the tune-up that they needed, and unfortunately pulls out of competition. At 174. So the higher qualified car by about 0.4 of a second is on the right-hand side. The underdog on the left-hand side. And the left-hand side doesn't move. David in complete control here, 830 at 168 miles an hour. He will go to the next round. And Mark having all kinds of problems after coming off the starting line, so unfortunately for him, his weekend is done. David will go to the next round. Jason will make a full pull. All the way down, 834 at 169. He qualified with an 821, so the number 1 and number 2 qualifiers will go to the next round in DCT Street. DCT 850, again, their job to get to the finish line first ahead of the opponent on a green light start and run as close to 8.50 as possible without going under it. Our first pair, Alex DeSanto and Andre Beadle. Beadle left side, DeSanto right side. Whole shot goes to Beadle. They almost leave together. They both qualified with an 885, left side out in front. 859 at 164, a big improvement for Andre, and he will get the win. Alec was right alongside of him until about the 8th mile and then falls back to a 10:13 at just 100 miles an hour. So Andre Beadle will go to round number 2 with the Audi TT RS. Base number 9. David Roschneider left side and Kevin Stowe right side. Stowe in the neon yellow car, 760 his best pass. Roschneider's best pass, 697. Higher qualified car on the left, underdog on the right. The underdog gets the whole shot, but it is fading fast. fast as Roschneider to the finish line. 7:36 at 182, holding off the 7:95 at 183 of Kevin Stowe. So Roschneider slows a little bit, but still has plenty in the tank to take out Kevin Stowe, and David Roschneider will go to the semifinals. The number one qualifier lives on. Gentlemen, here comes our next matchup. The number 3 and number 6 qualifiers at the starting line on this one. Damon Fegley left side and Tom Harrison right side. Harrison, your number 6 qualifier, 7:45.2 at 192, his best pass, and he got through round number 1. He will face Damon Fegley. The Fast Tech Motorsports ride left side. Number 3 qualifier, 7:21 at 197. So about a quarter of a second separates these two GTRs. The advantage on the left side. The higher qualified car, the quicker time and more speed. Tom Harrison looking for the whole shot on a possible upset on the right side. And he goes for the whole shot and turns on the red light by 31 thousandths of a second. Damon Fegley to the finish line, 7:14 at 195. His best pass of the weekend, 7:52 at 188 for Tom Harrison. Even if he would have let go perfect on the reaction time and pocketed about 1300ths in reaction time advantage, it wouldn't have been enough to hold off Damon's best pass of the weekend, 7:14 at 195, the number 3 qualifier, joining the number 1 qualifier in the semifinals. Here comes your next pair. Cole Lay, left-hand side, the purple GTR, got the big break in round number 1 as the number 12 qualifier got an opponent broke single, but will face the tough task of facing Marcelo Duran, the forged back number 4 qualifier, the blue GTR right side. 7:23 at 200 miles an hour was Marcelo's best pass in qualifying. Cole's best pass, 7:72. Almost a half a second separates these two. The advantage right side on paper. The underdog on the left, already in the stage B. Marcelo puts theirs in. And Marcelo off the starting line first and has trouble. The number 12 qualifier to the finish line. 7:66 at 181, the best pass of the weekend for Cole, and the upset continues as the number 12 qualifier will go to the semifinals, and a tough break for Marcelo as he left the starting line first by a bunch, had the 60-foot advantage, and then the car ran into trouble. He did his best time, 60. So about 0.6 of a second separate these two. The heavy advantage left side, the underdog right side. Christine looking to go to the semifinals as the number 2 qualifier should. Chris looking for the upset. The whole shot goes left side. Christine is driving it. Can she hang on for the win? Yes. 7:30 beating a 7:55, and Christine sawing at that wheel all the way down the racetrack. At one point, the car looked like it could have gone over the center line, but Christine earning her money's worth, wheeling that car to a 7:30 at 198 and never giving up. and Chris Sassy throws down his best pass of the weekend, 7:55 at 1:88, best time and speed, and it's all for naught. Christine holds on, the number 2 qualifier, to the semifinals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your first pair out of GTR GR6 Extreme for round number 2 has become a single, as Marcelo Duran, who unfortunately broke in the last run in the other class, now has said that he cannot get the other vehicle back. So Giddy Chamby will go to the next round. The number 1 qualifier at 680 at 201 will get an easy pass. And Giddy will start to giddy up and take the data off the back half of the pass, 934 at 159. And the GTR will move. So Giddy will go to the final. Now we need to find an opponent. They're staged and ready, here we go. The whole shot to Devin left side. Can the number 6 qualifier go to the finals? Yes, indeed, 7:07, beating a 7:09. 198 miles an hour for Schultz, 202 miles an hour for Stacy Barnett. A great race right there, and Devin Schultz gets the whole shot again for the second time, and the defending class champion will go to the final to run the number 1 qualifier in ET to Don Fike on the left side. So once again, favored car on the left, underdog on the right. Mike is ready. Don is ready. And a huge hole shot for Don Fike. Dorsick in big trouble here. And Fike closes the door with authority, 769 at 179. Taking out the best pass of the weekend for Mike Dorsick, 807 at 168, a good run. But when you give up nearly 0.4 of a second at the starting line, it's very hard to get around it, especially when the other car is higher qualified. The whole shot to Nathan Sissio, but it doesn't even last to the 60-foot as Kelly Duran is around and to the finish line. 766 at 178 with the parachute out a little early. And Kelly Duran, the number 3 qualifier, will race Don Fike, the number 4 qualifier, in the finals of DCT Street Elite 8, ladies and gentlemen. Sean, the Lamborghini, went 834 in qualifying. The whole shot to Jason Hefner by a bunch. Now his job is to get to the finish line first and not go quicker than 806.3. And he does it, 820 at 171, taking out the 853 at 175 for Perrin Shaw. Jason Hefner to the final round in DCT Street. And this, again, could very easily be a race where the whole shot determines the difference. We have had whole shots determine the difference in big performance disadvantages. This one, the cars are almost identical. The whole shot goes to David Zelowinski, but the car falters out of the gate. Kevin Stowe out in front. An 830 at 171 will move the number 3 qualifier to the finals. A 915 at 170 as David lost all the time on the 60-foot. A 2.12 60-foot as the car had a problem and then recovered, but at that point, Kevin Stowe was long gone. So the higher qualified car on the left, the underdog on the right. They are staged and ready. Both of them off the starting line. The whole shot goes to the right-hand side. The Porsche out in front left-hand side. Top end says 863, matching his qualifying effort at 162 miles an hour. David Briggs will get the win light and go to the semifinals. Tyler Switzer going 932 at 154, not a bad lap, but just not enough to get in front of David Briggs. So the Porsche driver going to the semifinal round. right, our next pair to the starting line, Kevin Stowe and Andre Beadle. Beadle in the Audi TTRS, the blue car on the left side of the racetrack. Your number 9 qualifier facing the tall task of Kevin Stowe. Kevin is your number 1 qualifier with an 856 in the Lamborghini. That's the car on the right-hand side of the racetrack. So Andre Beadle left side looking for the upset. The number 9 qualifier looking to take out number 1. And it won't happen that way. Kevin Stowe with a huge hole shot. And he knows he has it in hand and the brake lights are on. A 947 at just 105 will pick up the win light. Kevin didn't want to run too fast against that 850 index, so he wisely backs off the throttle and saves the parts and pieces. And for Andre Beadle, his weekend will come to an end as it looks like the car not only gets off the starting line second, but has some problems, and he is coasting slowly towards the finish line on the left side of the racetrack. The faces Perrin Shaw, the GTR, your number 5 qualifier at 868. JD's best pass of the weekend, 946. So JD gonna need not a miracle, but something pretty hefty in order to get around Perrin Shaw here. And it comes in the form of a hole shot by 0.4 of a second. Now, can Perrin Shaw get around JD and not go quicker than 850? 891, taking out a 962. So Perrin Shaw letting JD get a big jump off the starting line, but then the GTR comes around and gets the win light. So Perrin Shaw, the number 5 qualifier, will go to the semifinals. And that will bring, once again, I need DCT Street and DCT Street Elite 8 finals to the lanes, please. DCT Street and DCT Street Elite 8 finalists. I need you to the lanes at this time, please. Ladies and gentlemen, round number 3 action about to get underway here. We appreciate all of you bearing with us through the break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is our other semifinal in the DCT Extreme class, and this is truly David versus Goliath. David Rohrschneider, the only car to run in the 6s in the class, your number 1 qualifier in the Alpha-backed ride on the right-hand side. 697 is what he ran in qualifying. He will face the number 12 qualifier, Cole Lay, the purple car on the left. The best that Cole ran during qualifying, 772, so nearly 75 hundredths of a second, 3/4 of a second separate these two cars. Cole has gotten here as the underdog. Can he pull off an upset again? He does as David turns on the red light. The number 12 qualifier will go to the final, and David throws away a 722 at 203. Cole lays down a 753 at 192 miles an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to think about the fact that anything can happen in drag racing, that is proof of it right there. The number 1 qualifier lays down a 3/10 better elapsed time, but red lights it away. And the underdog, Coley, the number 12 qualifier, will go to the final in DCT Extreme. Ladies and gentlemen, your final round coming to the starting line here in the GTR GR6 Extreme class. And it is a doozy, as Giddy Chumdy and Devin Schultz will line up a pair of GTRs to determine the winner. Now, on paper, Giddy was the superior car during qualifying, 680 at 201. Devin, on the other hand, fought the car tooth and nail. 750 the best pass he could make, and he had a couple of aborted efforts, but today he has redeemed himself. He has laid down a couple of stellar laps to get to the finals here, but as a tough customer indeed, as Giddy is ready on the right side, And now Devin is staged on the left side, our finalist. And Devin gets the whole shot. Is it going to be enough to hold on? No, it will not. The number one qualifier with the best pass of the weekend. 6:78 at 194 miles an hour. And Giddy Chumdi gets the win. 7:21 at a whooming 206 miles an hour for Devin Schultz. A big top end speed, but not enough ET. It was a valiant effort, but Giddy will go wire to wire. Number one qualifier and class winner here in the GTR GR6 Extreme class. Well, with a warm racetrack and different weather conditions than yesterday, this could be a pick'em race. They are staged and ready. And Kelly gets the big hole shot. She is steadily pulling away. Top end says 775 at 156 as Don Fike was late and started to fall behind at the 330-foot mark. And that's all it took for Kelly Duran to lock up the win. So they go to the starting line where the reaction time advantage could play a big role here, as two of your quicker cars in the class will stage up right here for the DCT Street title. And they leave almost together. The number one qualifier, Jason Effner, with the whole shot. He is still in front. Top end says 8:12, beating an 8:27. Only 160 miles an hour for Jason Hefner. 172 for Kevin Stowe. Margin of victory, 0.18 of a second, so about a car length. Jason Hefner, wire to wire, your number one qualifier and your winner in DCT Street. So congratulations to him and his crew as he goes wire to wire and takes home all the marbles in the DCT Street class. Shot for Kevin Stowe. Long as he does not go faster than 850, he should be in good standing. 877 at 130, and look at the boards, ladies and gentlemen. 860 at 163 for Perrin Shaw. He runs closer to the index, but a reaction time starting with a 1 and then a decimal point. Yeah, Kevin left him on the starting line by over 1 full second of reaction time, and Perrin could not get back around that. The purple car on the left, proving that we don't race on paper, and anything can happen on Eliminations Day. So the underdog by almost a half a second on the left, Damon Fegley. The favored car on the right. Cole has upset 3 cars to get to the final. Can he continue the trend, or will Damon pick up the win? The green light is on and the whole shot in Cole's possession. Damon out in front right side, Cole trying to stay with him, and Damon will pick up the victory. 724 at 194. 755 at 192 for Cole. A valiant effort. He got off the starting line first, but a little bit of tire spin, and Damon was gone. So Kevin Stowe in his second final round of the day. He made it to the final in DCT Street, came up just a little bit short. Can he redeem himself and pick up the win here, or will Billy Soteris pick it up instead in the Porsche? A big, big hole shot for Kevin Stowe. Now all he has to do is stay in front, not go faster than 850, and he gets it done with authority. 853 with a 0 at 158 miles an hour. Billy Soteris breaks out and goes 842 at 164 miles an hour. So the flat black GTR coming up for a single pass here on the right-hand side. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this car made the quickest pass on the grounds last year in the 650 range. .129 60-foot on a good lick right-hand side. 676 at 214 miles an hour there for the GTR. 129 to the 60-foot 4:58 at 177 to the 8th mile, and a 6:76 to tie Mac Brosnan's ET from the day at a blistering 214 miles an hour. Beretta Race Labs. Audi making a pass down the right-hand side. 9:25 at 163. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are making test and tune runs, make sure you dial up the Race BMP app, as that will be how you will get your time slip now. So again, anyone that wants to run test and tune, you will pick up your time slip via the Race BMP app. So you need to look up Race BMP to find. And the Audi running into some trouble just past the 60-foot mark as it made the 1-2 shift and then hit the rev limiter. So unfortunately, we'll coast through the finish line, and that run will not be what they are looking for. Once again, if you are running test and tune, please make sure you download the Race BMP app, and you can pick up your data in a full time slip form from the app. Again, Race Bravo Metric Performance. The Rada Race Labs car going down the left-hand side, 9:05 at 152 miles an hour. Audi on a pass on the right-hand side of the racetrack. 898, 154 miles an hour, and the crew likes it. 583 at 123 to the 8th mile on a 145 60-foot. Nice little pass there. Single shot here for the Audi. 146 60-foot. A 576 in the 8th mile might see an 8-second pass. Yes, 885, 157 miles an hour for the single shot there on the Audi right-hand side. Car moving around on him a little bit. A 515 to the 8th mile, 783, 183 and a half miles an hour for Kevin Stowe. Fabello going down the right-hand side, 869 at 170 miles an hour. So Z Wolinski, the number 2 qualifier in the DCT street class, looking to better his 8:23 time. .143.60 foot, 5:45 to the 8th mile. Top end says 8:24, 173. He just misses, bettering his Class ET by 1/100th of a second. A good run, but the 8:23 from qualifying that he had earlier will stand. Kyle Seibert coming around for another shot in the Router Race Labs car. Looking to better his 898 at 162 from this weekend. Top end says 872, 162 miles an hour. A little bit of smoke out of the car, but 0.2 of a second better than he ran all weekend. So that is his personal best for the weekend by 0.2 of a second. Hopefully the tire smoke is just a little bit of blow-by. Antonio DiLenardi coming up for a shot. The GTR. Qualified in the DCT Extreme class and just laid down a good lap just a minute ago, trying to better his 773 from earlier in the weekend. .124.60 foot, 492. This one is gonna be good. 751, 187 miles an hour. That is the best run for the weekend. See how he does right here. So again, the number that he's looking to beat, 867. That's his best pass of the weekend. 146.60 foot, 578 at 126 in the 8th mile, and he runs 888 at 156 for Mark Wendorf. So it looks like we may have one more car, and that will wrap it up. So again, staging lanes are now closed. Do not come to the staging lanes. Staging lanes are now closed, ladies and gentlemen. Do not enter the staging lanes. So the Lamborghini will be the final car to go down the racetrack. Mark Duche staged up. A little slow off the 60 foot, but the car is moving. Top end says 925 at 162 miles an hour for Mark. And ladies and gentlemen, that will officially wrap up racing for the DCT World Cup. Again, thank you so much to everybody that came out here to Bradenton Motorsports Park. We appreciate you making us part of your Sunday or part of your weekend. On behalf of the DCT World Cup crew and the BMP Bradenton Motorsports Park crew, we thank you so much. We ask that you please drive safely home. Make sure you check out racebmp.com as well as the Race BMP app to find out more of our 2023 season here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. And also check out the DCT World Cup app for your phone, where you can find out more information about the DCT World Cup, results, driver standings, and all the great sponsors that made this event possible. On behalf of everybody here at Bradenton, thank you so much. We hope to see you again sometime soon. Have a great day, everyone.